So I've been receiving a lot of questions on how to rig the Big Bite Baits BSE and how do I actually like to fish it. And Nick, can you show me a few different retrieve styles? So let's break it down. All right, guys, for demonstration purposes, we're going to use the white Great Muddy Watercolor. This right off the bat, 5/0 EWG, nice strong 5/0 EWG. There's a few different models I use, but let's just not get into that. Let's go into the rigging. This is a weight forward, which means the fat end of the bait is traveling towards your target. So when we're rigging it, I'm actually looking through my phone here, so this may be a little wonky, but you come through to your point here and come out the back of the skinny end right there, okay? This is where we're going in first, and we're going to slide that up, just a basic Weedless Texas rig, over the hook eye, just like so, okay? We're going to get it right over the hook eye, just like that. Now we're going to go to the fat end of the bait, bear with the shaky hands, and we're going to go all the way through the meat and come out into that hook cavity, just like so, okay? Now from here, if you don't have a bunch of snags, you could expose it and just kind of leave it in that cavity and it sits flush like that. For me, I like to pull up on the bait a little bit and bury that hook point just a tad back into the back so you can see the hook points covered there. That way it's nice and weedless. So being a weight forward presentation, when you skip in, this end is going towards your target, towards your target. When it lands, this bait backslides, okay? Slides going in that same direction. So when you click your bail over after your cast, don't maintain a tight line. Make sure it has some slack and it'll backslide. That means just going backwards, actually, continuing the direction you cast. And that will actually swim under docks, or if you skip under a tree, it will swim all the way into that tree. This is a lot of the time why I'm using straight braid right here. You can use 17-pound fluorocarbon, but that actually reduces your backslide a little bit. It doesn't go as far, where the braid will continue to go because it's much more buoyant and it'll let that bait travel backwards. As it's traveling backwards, you're going to see those legs kick if you haven't watched the video yet. And it kind of dips down, slides, looks like a water beetle swimming backwards. They don't really see the braid because it's coming to them. If the fish is positioned here, it's coming to them. They're not seeing it. It's like flipping where it's dropping straight down typically, unless they're eating it off the bottom. They're not going to see your line. So it's a really, really cool way to fish it. I never have the hook buried all the way inside the bait. This is a very soft bait. It's going to last 2 or 3 fish before you have to replace it. But Big Bite Bait has a good price point on the BSE, which makes it really awesome. And if you do tear out the nose, you can always do the lighter trick. I take a torch lighter always in my boat. And repair them very easily. The nice part is about this bait is when the fish gets it and they tear it down, even if they rip the nose out, this portion of the bait is so big that you hardly ever lose the plastic itself. So I know this is not what this is not what Big Bite wants to hear, but I can literally repair these baits probably 10 or 15 times before they go bad. So I'm catching probably 30 to 40 fish on each one of these. So let me show you a couple of cast and retrieval styles I like to do and explain a little bit more thoroughly on that whole backsliding situation and when I'm not doing it. Right off the bat, everyone knows I designed the BSE for skipping, okay? Cool. I got my phone literally on a tripod right in front of my body. This isn't a chest mount. Look how stable that is. So if I'm just going to cast it out there, when it stops, if I had a tight line, it's going to force the BSE to kind of basically just fall straight down. But if I cast it out there and I have a little slack, or I finish with my rod tip high and I drop it down and I give that bait slack, that's where it's going to backslide. So if I skip up to, like, let's say that's the front of a dock with slack and I give it slack, it's going to slide under the dock. Now, people are asking me about cast and retrieves. I want you to see this. Over matted vegetation, I do this a lot. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'll put my tip down and I'll slowly reel it. And what it does like this walking back and forth thing while the legs quiver. Let me try to get a close-up on that. So I'll show you another way of utilizing the backslide right here. So let's say I'm crawling it over. Nothing's wanting to eat off the surface. Let's say I got a big log coming up. So I'll drag it over the log with my tip up and I'll drop it down. Watch my slack in my line. You see how it's starting to swim backwards? Look, see how it's getting tight? Almost like a fish has it. That's that bait coming over and then swimming backwards under it. No other lure can do that. A lot of the time, like if you're flipping straight up and down, it's going to pop off the bottom, but you're not in the face of the bass. So when you crawl it over there and it swims back under, they're under there, hunkered down under that structure and cover. Another reason I'm using straight braid a lot of the time when I'm doing that is because it goes under. I can feel them, oh, they suck it in. They've never seen a bait under there. It's almost like punching, but you're actually coming over the edge and then going back to them. Very, very unique style. So how deep do I fish this bait? Typically 0 to 5 feet because it's slow moving, very subtle action. It doesn't get to the bottom fast. Like I said, I designed it for skipping back under structure and cover and boat docks and behind grass patches and under trees. Okay, typically all that stuff's shallow. But if you do have deeper docks, oftentimes, like when you see me out on the lakes, I will take a little nail weight, okay, and I insert it right into the base, like so. All right, that's where I put it. And the reason why is because it's weight forward. Anywhere else you put it is going to negatively affect that action. You put it right there, all it does is it emphasizes that backslide faster and it gets down sooner. You're not going to get as much distance on your backslide, but you will still get the backsliding. The legs still quiver great, and you can increase your depth. Typically with a small nail right there in the end, I'll still fish it down to about maybe 8-10 feet, but beyond that, there's just better choices at that range and that depth. So that's how I do it with the nail for a little bit deeper water, or if I want to fish it a little bit faster. It does not mess the action of this bait up at all. Rod, reel, and line, what do I use it on, guys? Check it out. This is the Sticks Torque Stick right here. This is a 7'4", medium heavy, leaning slightly towards heavier. This is the rod I designed for my company, Sticks. This is the one you always see me skipping on, all right? This is a perfect frogging setup, skipping setup for the BSE. You can see me throw the Savage Gear Tough Toad on here all the time. The reel I like is a Revo SX 9-to-1. This thing is a workhorse. It fits in my hand very ergonomically. I love the feel of this reel, and it's got great drag pressure. When I hit them under structure and cover, on set, it's tremendous, that pressure. It allows me to wrench them out extremely well. It's got a pretty good size handle on there. It just fits really good, and I typically have much larger hands than most people. I'm 6'6". Now, a lot of people freak out when I tell you that I'm using 65-pound braid. When I'm skipping, I'm in there against pointy, prickly, sharp docks, nails, screws, ropes, you name it. The fish do not care. 65-pound is a thicker diameter, which allows me to wrench those fish out of heavy and cover with the comfort of knowing that I'm not going to break off. The fish do not care about that, and it manages remarkably well skipping over. I can feel it feathering as I'm skipping. 65 is just a great size for braid, just to utilize that. So keep that in mind, guys. The Revo SX 9-to-1. I like that high speed because I'm typically fishing shallow and I'm watching my line. I'm not typically swimming my bait under the surface. When I got the BSE on top, I can see it like a top water. That's why I use the high speed. If I want to get it in real fast and skip it to another target, that's a great option. You need to have a good skipping rod like the Sticks Torque Stick right here. It gives you a lot of leverage and speed, and it's extremely light. So this is a fantastic setup for that. I think the only time you can fish a BSE wrong is if you're fishing it too fast. This has such a subtle, natural reaction. It's kind of like a Senko. You throw it out there, you're patient, you feel that tick in your line, boom, send it home. I'm drilling them. When I'm setting on this, I'm hitting them hard and moving them out, okay? I'm not playing around. It's really great when a fish actually grabs this because they don't spit it out. It's not like a hollow body toad or anything. They'll swim with it forever. I've seen people make mistakes, get backlashes on skips, especially when I'm out trying to teach people how to skip. They'll get a backlash. I'll see the fish eat it. They'll literally sit there, pick out the backlash, and because it's a 5/0, they're not swallowing it or getting it in their gullet. And next thing you know, they can reel it up, bam, set, and they still have the fish. It's great. They don't let go of the thing. But fishing it too fast is a problem unless you're skipping it under structure and cover. If you're skipping it under there, it goes do-do-do-do-do. They see it, they react to it, they eat it instantly. But if you're trying to let it backslide down under timber, Watch your line. As you've seen when I showed you in the video, the slack dropping, wait for it to stop. A lot of the time, those bass that are buried under structure and cover are not in feeding mode. So when it backslides, hits the bottom, give them about a full second. A lot of the time you'll see them eat it. You've heard dead sticking, right? This bait, when it backslides on a 1 to 2 second dead stick, especially when fish are shut down, is freaking deadly, guys. I'm Nick, the Informative Fisherman. I appreciate all the follows and all the shares and all the love over the years, guys. If you haven't tried the Big Bite BSE yet, you're really missing out. This bait is a ton of fun to fish. I had this vision in my head for many years, and I was able to finally build it, and it is an absolute blast and a deadly, deadly fish catcher. Thanks for watching.